A little more conversation with talkingelvis.co.uk.
Hello and welcome to episode 13, unlucky for some. We've made it this far. I can't believe this. And thank you all for writing in. Who's on the show today? Well, it's me, Vince Wright, and...
me, Ian Gray.
The me's are here. Yes, me.
Yes, and can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Much better than last week, isn't it?
You've put your hand in your pocket, haven't you?
I have. Yes, I've invested in Talking Elvis, so I'm now an investor. I expect a dividend any time now.
That's right. And the baked bean can with the string on it, is that in the bin now?
Yeah, I've recycled it. I did wash it out first. I recycled after washing out first, I suppose.
Oh, you look at it. You just waste water instead.
Oh, no, I drank the recycled water.
Oh.
I've run out of beer. Send more beer.
The mushy peas had fermented, hadn't they? Oh, that's horrid. Right, so welcome all to the show.
Yes,
thanks for all the kind words on Facebook and whatnot, and the listening figures are going up, so we must be doing something right. What did you think of last week's show?
I think it was excellent. It was great to talk to Neil, wasn't it?
It was a real blast from the past. That was,
and it felt like we just picked up from where we previously left off years ago, which is absolutely superb.
It was crazy, wasn't it? Because you know, circumstances just change your life, and you go, yeah, but God, we had some good times there. And that was the edited version. You didn't hear the stories we didn't want you to hear.
We've had some stories to tell as well. So
oh yes,
buy us a pint sometime after lockdown, and then we'll tell you all about them.
Yeah, the X certificate version, that'll be great. So I think at the end of the show, I'd forgotten, but we made a rash promise, didn't we?
We did actually, yeah, and it's unusual for us that we're actually going to follow through and keep it.
Yes. So before we do that, news and views this week. What have we got?
The only thing I heard was the death of the son of Sam Phillips. What's his name? Knox Phillips.
Yeah, Knox Phillips. That was.
And to be honest with you, quite honestly, I'd never heard of him before he died last week. And that sounds an awful thing to say, but I'm not going to go into mourning about it.
He was big in promoting Memphis music and all that, so that's great. But I suppose he's a completely different tier of that. But sad news again. It's even the Elvis world where we've got the son of and son of and son of. They still had some stories. They were still there. They were still playing with him. Elvis popped round for a cup of tea. So, we're running out of actual real people, aren't we?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, there was Elvis's one-time friend 2 or 3 weeks ago who died. Who was in his 80s or so. I can't remember his name, but we're not going to have a massive weeping about it, are we? These people with very tenuous links sometimes, and excuse me if I'm being a bit sort of harsh here, but I'm really only interested in Elvis. Not somebody I went to school with in 1940. Quite honestly,
yeah. Unless he gets out a photo album and here's a picture of Elvis doing something. Here's me out movies.
Yeah, I'm not into hanging on to the past so much. Because. And people love this when they go to Memphis and when they go to Tennessee and they see these people who went to school with Elvis, or go to Germany and they met a guy who used to hang around outside Elvis's house in Bad Nauheim for an autograph, and he's the star attraction. It's like, I'm afraid that's not for me. But if you're into all that, then well and good to you. I'm sure these are lovely people, but you go and talk to him. You'll find me in the bar around the corner. I'm very cynical. I'm really grumpy.
You are very cynical, and we love you for it. Apparently,
thank you so much.
It says here.
Oh, it says in the script. You got that redraft of the script there.
Yeah.
I'm just getting my script here. Hang on. There we go.
Finished your chips then, have you?
That
that's a very British thing, isn't it? Sorry.
That surprised you in America.
Yeah.
Right.
After the success of who were our top 5 leading ladies, yes. What did we decide this week was going to be?
We decided we were going to go for the top 5 leading male co-stars. And again, this is going to be subjective, isn't it? It's going to be your favourites as against your critical favourites. If you see what I mean.
I found this a lot harder to do. I think looking at when I looked at this, there's a lot more big names of the fellas
Yeah.
in the movies. People that non-Elvis world will have heard of.
Yeah.
Whereas, the Shelley Fabre means nothing to most people. And I found this a much harder list to compile.
And I've left out 3 or 4 significantly big hitters, who are well versed in the movie world in general, and I've actually left them out. So yeah, it's a bigger pool to choose from, this one.
You're listening to Talking Elvis with Vince Wright and Ian Gray.
So I have a top 5 made up. I don't know whether it's the proper top 5, but like you, I think I've gone for the most interesting.
Yeah, it's your favourites, isn't it, as well?
I think
it's a combination of both there.
I think that the lovely ladies out there in Elvis land might have also done what we did with the ladies. So you might choose your favourites. Who was the hunk of the week? So I don't think we've gone that way.
No.
Yeah. So I'm going to say, like we did last time, with your number 5.
Number 5, I'm going to go for somebody who appeared in 2 Elvis movies: Clam Bacon 1967, Speedway 1968, and that was Bill Bixby.
Yeah,
Bill Bixby. Now he appeared in the Kentucky Fried Movie, would you believe, in 1977?
Was he in that? That's one of the first pirate movies I ever had.
Yeah, he was in that, and that's made me feel very sort of melancholy now, because I haven't had one of those for a long time. As with most 60s actors, he was in a couple of episodes of Dr. Kildare. And My Favourite Martian.
Oh,
Did you ever watch that? Yeah.
Yes, with the antenna.
Yeah, he was in that for 3 years, 107 episodes he was in of that My Favourite Martian. And of course, now this would be sort of me when I was growing up from 77 to 82. He was, of course, the Incredible Hulk. Well, he wasn't the Incredible Hulk, but he was Dr. Bruce Banner, wasn't he?
Well, he was Dr. David Banner, wasn't he?
David Bruce Banner. That's what it
they
says.
They changed the name, didn't they? Because the comic book, he's always Bruce.
That's right.
The TV show did him as David, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Don't make me angry, Mr. McGee. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Yeah, so I remember him for that in the first instance when I was growing up. But yeah, I quite liked him especially in Speedway.
And just name dropping a bit here. Do you remember when we interviewed Victoria Page Meyerink?
Yes.
And she was probably a bigger fan of him than of
She
Elvis.
was, she
was talking about and they said to her, if you had to marry one of us now, who would you choose? And it's really funny to hear her. She's got Bill Bixby and Elvis there having lunch with them, and she's a little bitty kid, and she's got that choice. So good choice there. And,
yeah, I think it looks like they had a good partnership on screen as well. They looked like they enjoyed each other's company, because that came across in the films, I thought, anyway.
I think it was. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
I think he was not outshone by Elvis, was he?
No.
He played along with him. When he's got his his woman trap, and everything's rigged up and all that. Oh yeah, good. And that was my number 5 as well.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
We have not collaborated on this at all, folks. We genuinely don't know what each other's going to say.
I have a very tatty scribbled list here, and he was number 4. And then he was changed to 5 because of somebody else.
Ah, right, okay.
Is he still with us?
I don't know. I'd have to look.
No, I can't remember. I didn't look at that. But I think all round good career. He would have carried on. He carried on for years. But the Hulk is for us, isn't it? That is of our era.
Yeah, and he died in November 1993.
Oh, did he?
Yes, I've just looked it up right now.
You've got Tinterweb where you are now. Well,
I have. Yes. We've put another shilling in the meter, and we're good to go.
Right. Well, because I haven't got a number 5 different to talk about, can I put one of my nearlies?
Yes, come and put one of your reserves in.
One of my reserves. Well, of course, my reserve, and this is purely for comic appearance only, the great Australian actor Chips Rafferty.
I knew you was going to have him somewhere in there. I just knew it.
I had to keep him in reserve there. So he was Archie Brown in Double Trouble.
Yeah.
And you know how I'm a little bit obsessive with what other TV shows people appeared in.
Yeah, go for it.
What detective, what spy show of the 60s do you think he was also in?
Wouldn't be Man from Uncle, would it?
It wasn't. No,
No.
It was the girl from Uncle. Ah,
Yeah.
the spin-off. Right.
You're joking. There was a spin-off.
Oh, you don't know your uncles. Oh yeah. Just remember, he's your uncle, not your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was actually in A Girl from Uncle. Yeah, so he was going to be my pretend number 5 because we had the same number 5. Number 4.
Okay. Do you want to go on this one? You want to take it in turns?
Ooh.
Go on.
Right.
Or
we will know this guy for one of our other obsessions, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was only in one Elvis movie.
Yeah.
I probably can't pronounce it properly. In Paradise Hawaiian Style, he was Danny.
Oh, what was his name?
And he was Jamie Shigeta.
Yeah.
Now, he had a singing career, a bit of a crooner in the 60s, as well as being in the Elvis movie.
Mm.
But what do we worship him as?
No, not Hawaii 5-0, no.
No. Newer.
Oh no, it's gone.
Is it gone? It's gone. Yeah. Joseph Takagi.
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Yes.
He is the big millionaire bloke at the start of Die Hard when they take over the tower and they kill him. And it was years before I knew that. And then I watched it for the 9 millionth time and I go, I know that voice.
When you know that information, then you see Die Hard again because you watch it 2 or 3 times a year. Well, we probably both do. It immediately just chips in, doesn't it? Yeah. And yet you've watched it all those times before and never realised.
Never do. No.
Yes, well done. Yeah, I forgot about that completely.
So I'm having Jamie Shigeti as that. And if you go on YouTube and put him in there, and you'll find these croonery albums of his. It's funny that as a great singer, you can imagine the contract was, you're in an Elvis film, shut up. Right? Yeah, you get to fly a helicopter. There'll be some bikinis, a couple of dogs, not in the same sentence there. I didn't mean that, but you know what I'm saying. And get on with it.
Is this any way to run an airline?
So I say Die Hard. Now, John McClane could have been Elvis.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I think so.
In a different time span, I think we could have had him there. So that's my number 4. Is Danny from Paradise Hawaiian Style.
Well done. Really like that one. Well, I do like that one.
Your number 4,
I'm going to go back to Elvis's his pre-army days, and we're going to go back to Loving You and Wendell Corey.
Oh,
yeah. What was his character? It wasn't.
I didn't even have him on my also runs. Why do you like him?
Right. Well, because what happened was I just thought that his character in Loving You was not he wasn't a comedy character. He had a bit of depth, didn't he? Because it was his name was Tex, wasn't it? Of course, it was Elizabeth Scott's opposite in there. But I thought that it had a bit of steel about him because he was supposedly the manager of the group, even though it was Elizabeth Scott who was taking the lead on sort of stuff. Like the downtrodden husband, if you like. A downtrodden boyfriend, I think it was, wasn't it? But he also had the comedy turn. He had the one-liners to throw away with. And it was quite an integral part of Loving You as well.
Oh.
Yeah, because he was well, he got Elvis in there he got the Elvis character in there. With the band, there was a bit of uneasiness going on. All of a sudden, who's this kid coming on, whatnot, and so and he backed up the Elizabeth Scott character every single time. He was very, very loyal, but he also had, like I say, just the odd line here and there which said, "That's it, I'm in charge."
It wasn't a real thing. It was only a movie.
Yeah.
Calm down. Calm down. You're not in court now.
Oh, right.
You've fought the argument there. If I was going for one of the actors in Loving You, I would have had, and this is off the top of my head, I can't remember what the actor's name was. The kid in the jalopy with him, who's the boogie woogie guy at the start.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
When they're unloading the beer.
Yeah.
I like that guy. Who was he? I have no idea who that actor was.
No
It was like Mickey Rooney out of A Time Warp, wasn't he?
Yeah, but
It was a really quirky one. I have to look that up. I don't know. That just came to me then. Sorry. So yeah, I think we can have Wendell Corey,
yes.
Elizabeth Scott.
Yes.
They had some freaky names in that film. I mean, Elvis Presley is usually a weird name, and he come third.
He was also in The Rainmaker as well, which Elvis, of course, screen tested for back in '56.
Oh, that's the winner there. There
you go. There's a connection.
There's the money shot. Oh, excellent stuff. Oh.
Yeah, bit of difference there. Yeah, happy with that.
Oh, all right. Now, I think on a lot of these Elvis films, when I'm choosing the actor, you do look and you go, should I be choosing the big names, the big Hollywood? Everybody knows the names.
Yeah.
And I had a thought about this, and I thought Vincent Price, great.
Yeah.
But he's rubbish in that, isn't he?
Really
for the Elvis bit, he's obviously come in and done 20 minutes work. Same with John Carradine, huge actors, but I haven't put them in the list because now I don't think it's just not quite there, is it? They didn't add enough to the film, did they?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't even got the likes of those on my reserve list, to be honest. Yeah. So yeah.
But I think that those come down to that.
I think I think the term for them is at the time anyway. That time in their careers were jobbing actors, weren't they? They were. Yeah. There was like come in and do a day's work and go away and then go off and do your career somewhere else. It literally was that, wasn't it? It was they were just on the casting list. So yeah.
So I've got what are we on to? Number 3? Number 3,
yeah.
You're going to give us the first one?
Yeah. Now he's only number 3 because I had to have a 1, 2, and 3, and is it in a particular order? I don't know, because this guy is a big hitter, and it's the uncomparable, I think, Walter Matthau.
My number 1.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
So. No, it's fair. It's fair because he was absolutely outstanding actor throughout the years, wasn't he? For 40, 50 years. So it's not just the King Creole, in which he was actually very, very good, wasn't he? He was Maxie Fields, and he was heavy. He played the heavy very, very well, but with a bit of suave and sophistication about him, didn't he?
It is a damn good movie. Forget Elvis. It stands alone. And you can see they're doing a Blu-ray of it now, aren't they? And the Blu-ray's coming out in part of their classics. So that, they wouldn't be putting out Kissing Cousins in their classics. This is because it's a great film and he does stand out. Yeah. So as a top-notch actor, without a shadow of a doubt, he's there. I put him as number 1. But yeah, he was in all what was it? The Odd Couple.
Odd Couple with Jack Lemmon, of course.
I mean, that doesn't get any better than that.
That was just superb movies. He's like a layabout sports reporter, isn't he? And poor Jack Lemmon comes in and tried to make him house, So
and how many times has the premise of that film been in every sitcom?
Oh, crikey, yeah, so much, yeah. The opposites attracting type of thing, isn't it?
It is, it's almost Joey and Chandler.
Pretty much, yeah, that's the basis, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think that's excellent. Walter Matthau, excellent. Nothing wrong with that film at all.
He was an Oscar winner as well. Won an Oscar in 1966 for The Fortune Cookie. He was the best supporting actor in that one. So he's an Oscar winner.
Oh.
He was also in a Cary Grant movie as well, which is always good for me. So it's with in Charade. So
was he in that? That was a bit of a squeal. I might have to edit that out. Yeah.
Only dogs could hear that. Don't worry about that. He was in that. He was one of the baddies. It was after the guy's money or whatever, something like that. So yeah. Got to be good. So, like I say, he was number 3 on my list only because I had to have a 1, 2, and 3, and it was literally a flip of a coin and the best of 6 with all that sort of stuff. So yeah, all to matter. So
yeah. So you know my number 1 now. So that's fair enough. My number 3.
Yeah.
I went. This chap was in 2 films, 2 Elvis films. Right. Also in a Marilyn Monroe film.
Okay.
Also in Man from U.N.C.L.E. Right. Of course. Gravelly voice. Plays a bit of a loony, bit of a moron. Now,
I think you might have my number 2 here, but go on.
Robert Strauss.
No.
Right. Robert Strauss, gravelly voice. Frankie and Johnny. He was Blackie. He gives them the gun with the real bullet. Spoilers, sorry if you haven't seen it. Right. Girls, Girls, Girls. He was Sam, the owner of the Pirates Den Club.
Yeah, the nightclub owner. Yeah,
the nightclub owner. Yeah.
Very good.
And my favourite thing that he's in is it the who directed it? Was it William Wyler? No, can't think who it is. Stalag 17.
Oh.
And again, there he's in love with Betty Grable.
Who wouldn't be?
Born in the wrong era, yes. But I liked him because he played that steady Eddie, comic role. Probably this, pretty much the same. It was, I tried to take it back, boss. It was it was the Dad, I got it wrong again kind of thing. But yeah, he was in the 7-Year Itch with Monroe as well. So Girls, Man from U.N.C.L.E., Frankie and Johnny, Stalag 17. Right, he's my number 3.
And if he only did those in his whole career, then he'd go, that'll do me. I'm happy.
I'm gonna say you'd sit down and go that there, but you just know the voice, and I just. I just think that Stalag 17, it's on film 4 every 10 minutes. And it's one of those films that I've probably seen it fully twice, but I've seen loads of it a million times.
Yeah.
Because it comes on and you just go, I'm having that.
And a very good steady Eddie character in Girls, 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 wasn't he?
Yes.
He was very sort of, assured of himself, assured of the performance, not in any way or form overawed by Elvis. Very good choice. Like that one.
So Robert Strauss there.
Yeah, very good.
Lovely film, and I feel like I've got to watch Stalag 17 again. Because it was just the best. And if we had what do you call it? If we had any money, we'd play the trailer for that now, wouldn't we?
we probably would. Yeah.
Yeah. William Holden. Oh, brilliant stuff. Yeah.
Superb.
We're gonna have to do a spin-off, just talk about movies all night. So Robert Strauss was my number 3.
Splendid stuff. Okay, so you want my number 2 now, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this guy was also in 2 Elvis movies.
Oh, it might be my number 2 as well.
Right, he's a 2-time Oscar nominee. I can't remember which for, though. He was also in a movie with Cary Grant, Tony Curtis, and a couple of sort of loosely related rock and roll Elvis sort of roles as well. We'll come back to those in a minute. But mine is number 2, Arthur O'Connell.
Yeah, and me.
Yeah. Follow That Dream, Kissing Cousins, Par Tatum, Park Whimper. Played Elvis's dad or uncle or whatever in both of those, or cousins. And a superb Hollywood comedy leader. Always played a role which had a bit of grouchiness, but also a bit of you could really love him, like he's your uncle. You know what I mean? He's one of those characters, wasn't he?
It is Pappy Tatum.
Yeah.
ICBM, UCBM. Is that still the funniest thing?
It still makes me laugh.
I'm just thinking about it here, and we're just going UCBM too. And they go, yeah.
Played totally deadpan as well.
Yeah. And I mean, Kissing Cousins, we've got a bit of a thing for Kissing Cousins anyway. We've admitted to this enough times. Yeah. But when he gets the general, the major, or whatever he is, drunk on the still, I see. Now I'm going to have to watch that this afternoon. Now,
Very, very good. And it's like one of the movies I love him for as well was in Operation Petticoat with Cary Grant and Tony Curtis.
So what was he in? I can't remember him.
He was a chief engineer in that. But
is it the same sort of deal again? Was it
same sort of deal? A grouchy old chief engineer who didn't like the fact that women had come onto the submarine and interfered with their mechanics and all this sort of stuff. And yet, a grouchy old man who turned into a lovely grouchy old man towards the end. So it was also in it's like you like this.
No, I'm gonna stop.
What?
I've got the worst joke in the world to say that I'll have to cut out, but I've got to say it.
Talk about the good times with Talking Elvis.
Another one for the blooper reel.
I think I'm on for the bin.
Yes, right. Okay, and you'll like this one. He was also in 1959 a Fabian movie called Hound Dog Man.
Oh no, that was based on Elvis, wasn't it?
Right, so he was in that. He was also with George Hamilton in 1964 in Your Cheating Heart,
which was a role that they wanted Elvis to play.
Apparently so.
The George Hamilton one, didn't it?
Yeah. And a totally unrelated Elvis one, but I like this movie anyway. Fantastic Voyage. He was in 1966.
All right, when he was tiny.
That's right. I think the first time I saw that, I was absolutely obsessed with that movie for years, and I've watched it 2 or 3 times after that. I really enjoyed it. I don't know why. It's a typical 1960s science fiction flick, but really good fun.
Well, the whole idea of these, it's like the Irwin Allen TV shows and all that. They were all like that.
Now, I'm just going to interrupt proceedings here on Talking Elvis to let you know that every Wednesday on Cam FM, you can listen to Elvis in Cambridge with myself, Ian Gray, and his self, Vince Wright. We're on at 6 p.m. UK time, 1 p.m. USA East Coast time, and 9 a.m. Alaskan time. You can also get us 24 hours a day via the catch-up service on www.camfm.co.uk. But whatever time it is that you're listening, you can guarantee one thing. It's Elvis time. He was a 2-time Oscar nominee. Never actually got an Oscar.
Oh, yeah. That's a shame. But yeah, perfect. Yeah, he's a definite one up there.
We like that one.
So I was going for the same one of that one. Looking at me also ran lists. I thought it was interesting to see some of the people who appeared in them, sort of either earlier in the career or really late. When you'd forgotten about him. Ed Asner was a cop in Kid Galahad.
Was he really?
So he was on there. Arthur O'Connell again was with Monroe in Bus Stop. So we mentioned that one just.
Yeah.
Who we're looking at here. Maxie feels we've done him. Gene Jones. Dean Jones was the guy in Herbie, but he was the DJ in Jailhouse Rock.
Yes, completely forgot about him. Yeah.
Tiny little thing.
Dean Jones was in a lot of those Disney movies, wasn't he? Or was it?
Yeah.
I think he was. Yeah.
He really was that stable, wasn't he? Again. So because you'd said we'd said the same on that one. I'm thinking. Do I go for somebody else and put in there? No, I think. Go on.
Because you've already done your number one now, haven't you? You've already had Tomato.
So your number one, then, please. Yeah.
He needs no introduction. Mickey Shaughnessy.
Well, I'm up in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Really,
One more day. A song that was actually written by Tepper and Bennett, Sid Tepper and Roy C. Bennett. There you go.
Honk Houghton.
And now I haven't got anything else written down about Mickey Shaughnessy other than the fact that he was in Jailhouse Rock. But because to me, he was the main character of the show. It was him that made the whole Vince Everett thing tick. Even though he wasn't there because he was still in prison for another couple of years or whatever, a year.
Yeah.
And after the Elvis character Vince Everett came out, he was the driving force in that. He was the one who built Vince Everett into what he became.
Because that film could have been quite dark, couldn't it?
Oh yeah.
I got killed a bloke in a bar. I go to prison, and luckily his cellmate had a guitar. If his cellmate had been a boxer, it might have turned into Kid Galahad. Um,
Every chance. Every
Yeah.
chance, and it was when they were in prison, they didn't glam up prison apart from the Jailhouse Rock thing that they did after it got
the
released.
TV show, yeah.
But they didn't really glam it up whilst the characters were in the prison cell because Elvis got the whipping after the riot in the canteen and stuff like that. And there's Mickey Shaughnessy hunk out and saying, "Sorry, kid, just couldn't buy you out of it,"
Yeah,
and that was very real, wasn't it?
The currency of cigarettes.
Yeah, and then the lessons he taught him and stuff like this, about how to survive in prison. That was real sort of gritty stuff, I thought. And when he came out, he was just cut adrift by the state, or almost, as does happen to some people who come out of prison. And Elvis took him on, or Vince Everett took him on, and again, he was teaching him life lessons, didn't he? Especially after he was, he messed Peggy about and all this sort of stuff. So, apart from this movie, I've got nothing else on Mickey Shaughnessy apart from I thought he was one of the best Elvis co-stars. Period. The whole thing, male, female, whatever.
Oh, that's very interesting. I'm surprised that he got above Walter Matthau, but I can see why you've done it. So I haven't got a number one there. So my number one's already there. I'm looking at my list again here and going, right, I was torn with Will Hutchins because he was in 2, but I thought he was shocking, right? So Tom Wilson and Lieutenant Tracy Rogers, I can leave them out of it. You've done the old... You've done Bill Bixby, Burgess Meredith, a good comedy character in Stay Away.
Stay Away Joe, yeah, of course. He was also in Rocky, wasn't he? Rocky, and he was the Penguin.
But it doesn't actually do too much. Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
Charles Bronson in
Kid
Galahad. It was no great escape, was it? So
no, and
I can't go with him.
Charles Bronson apparently didn't really get on with Elvis.
No, there was no anything there, was there? There was no magic or anything there.
What about Harry Morgan?
Well, this is Harry Morgan, Sherman Potter from MASH, in Frankie and Johnny.
Yeah. No, I thought for years he duetted on Who Needs Money, but he didn't, did he? It was what's his name from the Jordanaires, wasn't it? Who did it?
Isn't it? Yeah. So Frankie and Johnny, nice lightweight movie. They have a good sing along. They do everything else. Sherman Potter, Dragnet, just the facts, ma'am. Dun 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 dun.
And of course, one of the staple cowboys of the 50s movies, Richard Egan, of course, from Love Me Tender.
Ooh, that was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Who have I got left on my funny little list here? Harold J. Stone.
No, who's that?
Big Frank in Girl Happy. He was another one of the staple of big actors, wasn't he? And he was in A Man from U.N.C.L.E., but he would always play those sort of characters. Gary Crosby.
Oh, Christ, he was in an episode of Star Trek as well, wasn't he?
Was he?
Yes, of course he was. He was in the is it the Mirror? Not the Mirror one. The one where they played the two twins. It was one in the first series of Star Trek.
Oh, I can't remember him in that one. Oh, that's a good connection.
Yeah.
Not the greatest actor, but
a stable actor for the 60s, wasn't he?
And a great pedigree to come from.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
A spitting image of Bing, isn't he?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And I've got one more co-star, which I think how he's not got both of our number ones, I do not know, but I'm going to go for Elvis Presley. He co-starred with Elvis Presley in Kissing Cousins.
And we've seen that blonde wig, haven't we?
We have indeed,
yes.
So there you go. Elvis co-starred with himself, so there we go. He's a co-star officially.
Oh, that is clever.
Yeah, I was surprised. I've been keeping that one back.
How many bottles of whiskey did it take to get that
one? You know what? Since we discussed the idea of having the male co-stars thing, I thought, right, I'm going to put that in, and I bet you're going to get it. But I'm really surprised that you haven't. So 1-0 me.
You've got to remember, I'm not that clever.
But when we saw the wig, the wig in the Memphis mansion in Denmark with Henrik, that was sort of, whoa, that really blew us away. And yet it was just a wig.
Of a moment, that one.
It was just a wig, and we were really excited by it.
I mean, it might have been one of Shatner's. It might have been The Trouble with Tribbles, for all we knew.
Yeah. But there it was, and we didn't see it the first time around, did we?
No.
It's only when we was walking around for about the 17th time that we noticed it.
This is Henrik Knudsen from the Memphis Mansion in Randers, Denmark, and you are listening to the Talking Elvis podcast.
That's good. Vic Moreau, he was another one we in Creole again.
Yeah, Dean Jagger. All these people,
and another co-starry one that kind of bubbled under, but because it was only one movie, I felt it was a bit harder. It was Cookie, Robert Ivers
from
GI Blues, because he was kind of almost.
He was in most.
Yeah.
Yes, in terms of scenes, he was probably only second to Juliet Prez in terms of actually with Elvis scenes, wasn't he?
Yeah. So I think we've got a fair
good old stable here. Yeah.
Oh, one or two also rans that I've got to bring in here that I'd forgotten all about.
Right.
Sterling Holloway. Right, was the milkman in Live a Little, Love a Little, and what do we know him as? The voice of Winnie the Pooh.
No, that's too good. That's too good. It's either got to be something really far out like that, or The Man from U.N.C.L.E. with you, isn't it? So
yeah. You're going to love this next one.
That's really good. I like that one. Yeah, go
on. The next one, right? In my also rans, same film, Live a Little. All right, played the part of Harry.
Still struggling. Go on.
All right, Dick Sargent.
Right. Yes, another name, but I can't place him at the moment.
Darren in Bewitched.
Oh. You know what? When I was doing the research, I read that, and for some reason I thought I'll come back to that one, and I never did. Well done. Yeah, excellent. Well done.
It is really weird. Jackie Coogan, the kid out of the Chaplin movie.
Yeah, he was in there.
It was in Girl Happy as Sergeant Benson.
Man, you're reading far too many books.
It's frightening how one thing leads to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next.
Indeed. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Excellent. I've really enjoyed that. That was as enjoyable as doing the leading ladies. You know,
it was it was a different view, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. And we've both explained our choices, quite well. And also the also rans as well. So
I think that's it. It is a wealth of actors there, and all these people are going to be very proud that they were on. One of my movies was an Elvis movie.
Yeah, and they've been, a lot of them have got the Elvis stories, haven't they? Or we've heard them do the Elvis stories over the years as well, haven't we?
Oh yes.
So that's
I
really
think we've
good.
covered everybody there, haven't we? We haven't, I'm sorry. Let's hear your opinions.
Yeah, so, you can get Vince at talkingelvis.co.uk or Ian at talkingelvis.co.uk, and you never know, one of these days we might actually check those emails.
No, I do. I'm replying to people all the time. We need to get you on here, people. Let's get your opinions. Let's get you. Come on, put a request in. Are we happy with that category now?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
Put to bed.
It looks like it. Yes. Yeah. We can always come back to that. So
the female co-stars. We've done the male co-stars.
What's left?
How about the kids?
Here's another one. How about the animals?
Oh,
and not the one singing "The House of the Rising Sun."
Eric Burden wins every time.
But yeah, there was co-star animals in these movies as well. So let's not discuss it now. We'll come back to it. But also the Elvis kids. Yeah, and if we can find that many, but also the Elvis kids, because prominent parts of quite a few of his movies.
Yeah, I think that's really good, and some of them will have also been in Man from U.N.C.L.E., I'm sure.
No doubt.
So that'll be happy for me. So are we done with that topic?
Yep, we're done. No, next.
Hi, this is Matt Shepard, the author of Elvis Presley Stories Behind the Song. And like you, I'm delighted to be listening to Vince and Ian on Talking Elvis, the podcast.
I think that's us for another week. I think we're going to sit in a darkened room. Do we know what we're doing next week?
We may have an interview, but let's not make any promises we can't keep.
That's good.
Watch this space. How's that?
So episode 13 is this one. Thank you for listening again. If you've got any ideas of what we want to do, what we should do, we're looking at the Facebook Live. We're just trying to get our head around the technology. We'd like you to join us in that one as soon as we can. Sign up on the Facebook page. Give us a like of that. I'm sort of working the group thing out, but it's all a bit technological for me. And we'll get some more pics and things up as soon as we can. Thanks very much for listening.
Bye for now.
See you all.
Find us at www.talkingelvis.co.uk or Facebook or YouTube or Spotify. In fact, any place you get your podcasts.